So now an official welcome. Welcome to Satsang. And welcome everyone around the world that is joining us. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, because we are trying another recording way. Let's see. Okay. Seems to happen. So if you haven't been here with me, or if you haven't connected with the Satsang online, this is kind of an open meeting, and usually maybe a few words come out of my mouth, and then we aha, somebody coming. So we will have some silent sitting in between, and you're very welcome to ask questions at a certain point, or report your own understanding, or challenge whatever you hear me say. So feel free that eventually it can become a dialogue. When I was tuning in to Satsang tonight, I thought we're not going to go too much in sideways, because we go sideways every day. I think maybe it's an invitation to go and really investigate very clearly who I am, who we are. I'm sure you all had this question. I remember when I was in Pune the first time with Osho in 1980, the first group I did was called Enlightenment Intensive, with the question, who are you? Like, we were working in partners with the question, who are you? And then we were talking, and at the time I had no idea. I was a young doctor, so I'm a doctor. And then as we were exploring deeper and deeper with the question, who are you? Everything that I said didn't make sense anymore. Because everything we can say who we are is not who we are. Take a breath. And this is kind of so obvious that we overlook it most of the time, because we kind of build a sense of self out of becoming, out of having learned, concepts of good and bad, of right and wrong, of successful and failure, of winning and losing, of all that stuff that makes us into a personality. Now, at the time, I heard Osho say, I'm not a person, I'm a presence. I couldn't understand that. I'm not a person, I'm a presence. And then I look and I see this person there. So what is he saying? And only many, many, many years later, I realized that's so true. Everything I think I am, everything that I can define, everything I can label, wasn't there when I was born. Wasn't there when you were born. Check that for a moment. Everything that we added or our parents added, or the teachers added, or the society added, was added on who we are and made us pretend that I am this person. Okay, can you relate to that? Or is it over your heads? It's very simple, no? No? And we miss each time. I mean, how many hundreds of times when we talk to somebody we say I, and then we add to the I something that is not I. No? I think. Are you your thoughts? You cannot be your thoughts because you see them, right? You can be aware of them. Are you following? We're going direct. No more sideways. No? I am afraid. It's a good one. No? If I ask this question in a context of therapy, for example, of counseling, then we could go already into that lie that I am afraid. Am I fear, or can I see the fear? Am I fear, or am I aware of fear? What do you say? I'm aware of fear. I'm aware of everything that I add after I am. Are you following that? It's quite shocking, no? When you put your mind into it, and then you recognize, my God, I'm not even my mind, and I'm not my personality, and I'm not my trips, and I'm not my suffering, and I'm not my successes, and I'm not my money, or whatever we identify with is not who I am, because I am closer to me than that. That's why, like many years ago, I kind of tried to make this visual in a map that somehow I understand more and more. I developed it, I think, maybe 30 years ago. But each time I look at it, it makes more sense. Just that my attention, and probably everybody's attention, has been so far on my story. And my story is my past, my story is perhaps my fantasy about the future. My story is never now. What is now? I was fascinated by a beautiful mantra from Deva Premal and Miten, where I'm sure you all heard it. It goes Chitananda Rupam Shivoham Shivoham, and then she sings, which means I am consciousness, I'm ultimate bliss, I'm godliness. And then she sings everything that I'm not, I think in 6 long verses. And she tries to point, or this mantra tries to point to all these aspects that we made a belief out that this is me. It starts with I'm my body, but the song says I'm not my body, I'm not my feelings, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my actions, I'm not, and so on. I'm not whatever we can label, I'm not that. Are you with me still? Yeah. Yeah? Is it difficult? It's so obvious. So and then the question becomes really relevant. Well, what is it? Who am I? If I strip all these layers that I thought I am, if I take them off, if I take my thoughts off, if I take my beliefs off, if I take my ideals off, if I take my dreams off, if I take my strategies off to survive, if I take my traumas off, my trauma. Anybody has a trauma? We all have childhood traumas, no? And we say my trauma. It means you cannot be your trauma because you are that which is aware that this body-mind may have had some difficulty. But are you that? There I have to apologize to all the therapists, including to myself. Because trauma healing is very famous in these days. Going back into childhood and working on that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a detour. It's a subtle way not to face the basic question. What is this I am? Who am I? Am I really the person that I believe to be? Or am I just aware of the person? This is very shaky because most of the time when we are in any kind of tension, in any kind of survival, in any kind of protection mechanism, in any kind of resistance, what are we holding? We're holding on to something that we are anyway not. And then, at least for me, and there's a few here who have been to Pune or with Osho, or started the inner search very early. Then we projected on these few people that tried to make this clear to us. We projected something really highly elevated and spiritual. We did that. I did that with Osho. We did it with all the masters. No? They have it, whatever it is. They are free, and I am not. And we never question it. We loved to keep the projection out there. No? And here, you may have heard that expression, when you meet the Buddha on the way, kill him. It means let the projection come back and see. Am I free or am I not free? If I'm not free, I must be in an illusion. Identifying myself with something that comes and goes, with a piece of this personality that was not there when we were born, that will not be there when the body dies. And we have to kind of protect it for dear life, and that's called stress. Just before you came in, Paul asked me about the COVID-19 situation, what I think of it. Well, if you look at the reality of humanity in the moment, how much stress and survival there is, I think that very fear and that very intense situation for millions of people either pushes them into more identification, into more stress, and then if you listen a little bit to Joe Dispenza, who comes from the scientific side, the thought forms that are bombarding us through the media every day 10,000 times is what makes us sick. COVID-19 is a virus. It also makes us sick, but the combination is deadly. Isn't it? I mean, obviously we hear so many deaths. Now, it is the mind that, you know, when you think in a certain way, you create a certain energy that perpetuates itself and makes us more sick. I don't know if you... Yeah, let her in. Or him. Her. Hi. Welcome. So we only miss Haisa. She didn't make it. Okay. So where was I? COVID. Yeah. COVID, stress, and fear. No? And isn't that an incredible story? That fools the major part of humanity into an identity that they are not. I mean, let that sink in for a moment. And maybe that amount of suffering is needed. In German, there's this expression, Leidensdruck. No? You have to have so much pressure of suffering that it catapults you through your own illusion into awakening. That's my hope here. And probably, if you have somebody that just died or that is really sick, you may get angry at me when I say this. I'm not denying that there's a reality where the body-mind is threatened for many, many people. But isn't that also like an initiative, an incentive, you say, to wake up, to recognize, wait a minute, everything that I can experience is not me. There's a beautiful, one of these many modern teachers now, Rupert Spira. He just one day, through a French teacher, heard, "You're that which is aware of all experience." Just when he heard it, he woke up, like poof. Of course, I am that, and nobody knows what that is because it's not an object, it's not a form, it's not a thing that you can perceive through the senses, but it's closer than that. It is that which we call I am. Are you with me still? So I say that sentence again, and maybe one of you, or two of you, or three of you go, listen, let it in. Don't think about it, because it's beyond thought. I am that which is aware of all experience. It means it cancels every experience that I define ourselves with. It cancels, and I'm sorry, we are all attached to a certain extent to my story. It cancels my story. It doesn't mean I have to deny the story. It doesn't mean I need to throw it out. It doesn't mean that I have to change it or improve the story. It just means I'm not my story. I'm that which is aware of my story. Now already that is a huge liberation, especially when you have a very big suffering story. You're not that. If you have a fantastic, groovy, adventurous, fun story, no problem. But if you identify with it, then you have to keep up the feathers that you have collected on your ego structure about all the great things you did. And then you're in trouble again, because then you have to keep it up. And then the body gets older and you cannot keep it up anymore. And then, you get a belly and you cannot keep it up anymore. And then eventually the body doesn't do anymore what you used it for to create a sense of self that is not real. Take a breath. Are we on the track here? Yeah? And this is in a way how I understand satsang. I mean, it is not guru sitting here, even though you have to forgive me, I know who I am in my personality when I'm in this function. And clothes help me to remember this is the moment to share with people in a certain format. So I do wear white. It's nothing special. I could wear pink or anything. It just helps me to connect, to allow my personality, which I also have and sometimes believe in, to stay outside. I can pick it up later, knowing that I'm not my personality. No? So, yes. There was a question.
It was about, you were talking about, who am I?
Yeah.
This is Ageha Prem?
Ageha. Hi. Yes.
Ageha says, one thing you were talking about, we're bliss.
Yeah.
We're not the body.
Yeah.
One thing doesn't necessarily exclude the other. The body can regulate the tensions together with this awareness.
Yeah, of course. When I say I'm not the body, it doesn't mean you have to kind of not pay attention to the body. It just means you are not the body. The body is in you, and you will treat it in the best way possible. And yes, on the level of energy and aliveness that is experienced through the body is the only vehicle the true self has to express itself in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. But when that is happening with the recognition of who we truly are, it becomes more a play, it becomes more a relaxed letting go into the movement of life that anyway wants to live through you, rather than we having to get stressed and being tense and being in the becoming mode because the next moment promises something that this moment doesn't give us. That's where most of us live. And there is only this moment. And when this moment is actually experienced as pure awareness, it holds and contains and loves and is at peace with all experiences. That may sound strange, but it as when you recognize that I'm that which is aware, it appears empty, but it's not. It's a space full of love, full of peace, full of silence, full of spaciousness that includes every experience. How many times does the personality struggle with shame, with unworthiness, with the fear of failure, with relationship troubles, with the lack of love, and so on. You can write down all the problems of your person, of your personality. And that brings me, I think I told that story before, but I think it's good to tell it again. This discovery that everything, the shadow and the light, is already wonderfully held in the infinite spaciousness of awareness that we are. When that shift of perception happens, everything stays the same, but the grip, the bite is not there. Shame. It's just appearing as a cloud in the clear sky of consciousness and disappears. We don't need to do anything about it. The first time I kind of was pushed into that insight without me understanding it was the time when Osho left Pune to go to America. And the last words, I should actually find them because I think I say that many times. The last words in his last discourse before he left, he said something that freaked me out. He said, on the surface I feel compassion for you and all your problems. But deep down, I giggle at you because you're not really in trouble. Your suffering is bogus. Now that kind of made me so angry. I'm going to tell you what. Your suffering is bogus. You are love. You are bliss. You are freedom. You are peace. Now, at the time, my partner, my girlfriend that I was together for 10 years, we had a beautiful relationship. She was with me in Pune and we were in different courses for a month. So we didn't see each other for a month. And I come back out of Vipassana meditation, 10 long days of watching the escapades of my mind and enjoying the movie and being full of fantasies of what I'm going to do with her after. And then I come out of Vipassana, totally meditative and full of love, and there's a letter on my bed. Thank you for 10 beautiful years. I'm in love with another guy. And Osho says, my suffering is bogus. Come on. I was almost dying. Literally. It's like I got so sick and I went to Goa and for 3 days I just couldn't move. I had diarrhea and vomiting and I could just lie under a palm tree, and on the third day the palms was talking to me, and then I thought, now I'm going crazy. Just the intensity of pain, when you think for two and suddenly this half of you that I have identified with is gone. Now this was just a preview of what had to happen many years later when my wife, after 32 years, died. Same thing, but just more intense. So, my suffering is bogus, I agree. Yeah. Even that story, now I'm telling the story. Is the story who I am? No. Is Nura gone? No. Body is gone. But what Nura was for me, which was light, love and truth, is here. You can call it Nura or Osho or Ramana or anyone that has discovered his infinity has the same name. You can call it Mukam. You can call it anything. Because it's before the name. Does that make any sense? Yeah. Now, don't just keep it in your mind, because this is really, it's possible, you can walk out of here free. It cost you only $10. Yeah. I mean, it's such a bargain.
You can put more on if you want.
But, Greg can talk about dana, which means if it's valuable to you, you can put more in, whatever the value is. Yeah. Shall we sit a little bit? I think, I think I said what needed to be said, and this is kind of just an invitation for you to actually, when you sit, allow everything to be what it is, because it's not you. Everything that arises is not you. So allow it to arise, because in that arising, you can see, I can only see it arising because I'm aware of it. Otherwise I wouldn't see it. And that includes everything. That includes your thoughts, and includes your body. If your body maybe suddenly has a tension, let it be. Don't touch it. Don't make a me out of it that you need to fix. Rest as that which is aware of all experience. Now, in the moment, it's a mental sentence, because the moment we use words, it's the mind, but it's also the truth. And let it take you closer and closer and closer. And if you're very lucky, there may come a moment where everything, every object that appears in awareness makes space for awareness itself. And then all we are aware of is awareness. Many years ago, I heard Osho say one definition of awakening or enlightenment is when awareness is aware of itself, when there's no object anymore, because every object has been seen as not I. So then the I stays in its purity. We're going to sit for about half an hour.
Can I ask a question?
After the sitting, first silent sitting, okay? And let's see, question is welcome after, or it may disappear. Be curious, okay? deeper and deeper. Just go in. Anything that appears in consciousness, let it appear, let it come, let it stay, let it go. Go deeper than any feeling. Deeper than any thought. Deeper than all experiences. And you will find I am still here. And from that depths inside, you can take a deeper breath. Gently become aware of the body again. Body appears in consciousness. Becoming aware of all the senses again. Till you find a good moment to open your eyes to a new moment here. I want to dedicate the light of the candle tonight to that which is more like light rather than form, that shines on everything and yet itself is no thing. it exquisite to just be here with no content, with nothing to fill this empty space, and yet it's full of presence. I don't know if you get the taste of that. It's really like I'm sitting in front of jasmine flowers, so they are very strong. But it's kind of like a perfume, like a and it doesn't have a name. You can call it presence, or if you're religious, you can call it God. Is the question still there?
No, just gratitude, which was my question.
It's the question and the answer. No? Yeah. Yeah. And it's strange, no? For no reason, gratitude for no reason. And nobody has ever been able to describe this, and yet it's so real. It is so beginningless, endless. Now I know it's almost difficult to say anything or to ask anything, but this is an invitation, also for the friends who are with us online. I don't know if you notice, like the friends who are here, it's so much bigger than this little room. No? It's so much connected to all these beings that are joining us, and much more. So anything you want to share or ask, please feel welcome, and same to the online friends. Come, Tony, come here.
G'day, Rahasya.
Good day. Come a
Here
little
for a
closer
while.
because
Okay.
I need to see you.
Oh yeah. Hello, everyone. It's an old story, this one. Just hear you talking about, I am and states of big presence and such. And I have, experienced those states oftentimes, but then often when I'm around others or something happens that, I don't know, doesn't fit my groove, I'm thrown out. And
Okay.
yeah.
I know there's more to say, but check this.
Yeah.
Just check. You say, I am thrown out if
Mm.
such and such thing is happening.
Mm.
Are you really? Because there must be something or someone that is aware of being thrown out.
Yeah, it's true. And then,
Wait,
yeah,
who is that?
well, that is I. Yeah.
That's I. Here we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just momentarily obscured by distraction, but it is gone. Is it gone?
It feels like it's gone.
Well, check now.
Well, at this time, I'm here, but there's some anxiety. Yeah. And
Okay,
there's
so we
some
can. So can we?
thought and some
I understand.
some concern or some thing like that. Yeah.
Okay. So there's anxiety. It's partially here, but there's thought and concern. And who is aware of that?
I am.
Now, I think this is really important because we all have certain stories that seem to affect the body-mind quite strongly, where we are pulled into identification. Now, the first step. I mean, this is the whole magic in a way of inquiry. The first step is like, okay, I am aware of anxiety. So, are you anxiety or are you awareness?
I'm awareness.
That's right. Now, the anxiety apparently through the body-mind kidnaps your attention. It doesn't kidnap your awareness.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
So our habit, and I include myself when I'm caught in story, our habit is to pay attention to that which looks like an object, and an object in a wider sense. A thought is an object, an emotion is an object, a body sensation is an object, anything that is an object. But that's only possible because there's a background which is who you are.
Okay, yeah.
No, that okay wasn't okay because this is just in the mind. Let it sink in a little bit deeper. Let it really be okay because it's true, isn't it?
Well, I was thinking it's okay, really,
Yeah.
because it's maybe I'm a bit hard on myself, or I learned something about vigilance some time back. So, in being vigilant, I can feel myself leaving, it feels, right?
Yeah.
And my connection and to presence and that. And then I feel some loss or something like that,
Yeah.
Or it's not like a peak state. It's I can be there angry, I can be there sad, I can be there laughing, but sometimes it's like it's gone. Where have I gone? You know, where is it? It looks like something I want to get back.
It's great.
But it hasn't really gone. I kind of know, but then it has gone.
It's something that you want back. So in a way, our sense of self or our personality or our ego has made a me, a substitute me, out of something that is not part of that type of me.
Okay. Yes.
You understand?
Yeah, I do.
It's not part of it.
That's right.
So even when I say my awareness, we have killed awareness. Or we have overlooked awareness because we made a me out of something that is much vaster than the little identity that we try to hold on to. Yeah? But it's such a habit. I mean, we all have that habit. It's such a habit to be, and we learned it from the beginning, from baby, to be attentive to the object which is outside. Every object in this term is outside of ourselves. Even the mind, the thoughts, the body, the feelings, the emotions, the stories, it's all moving out. And we forget that actually, wait a minute, this is the whole purpose of meditation. You turn around, you don't follow this. And obviously, you know, you cannot tell me this story without being aware of it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So can you lose it?
No, I can't, but I can be trying too hard, maybe. That's the thing as well. Like I'm grasping,
Yeah.
If and when I'm not centered, and, you know, I was, you know, meditating this afternoon and I was thinking, oh, that was okay, it wasn't really that great, but I was like looking for something.
Yeah.
And then I went and sat down by the sunset outside and was like, oh, it's here.
Yeah.
I stopped looking.
Yeah.
And I'm there, and it's all beautiful and one, and But I don't know. It's just it just keeps going over and over a lot like that.
Yeah. I think it happens to all of us, especially if we have been meditating, and especially if we had a glimpse. But now, you know, now basically the next step, if there's any steps, of course there's no steps, but is to recognize when your attention makes a me out of it rather than your attention is on awareness.
I'm not sure I follow that really. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let me try to.
My attention.
Yeah.
My attention. What I'm paying attention to.
Yeah.
Is. Okay. It's like my attention.
That's right.
It's not the attention of I am.
That's right.
And that's right. So I'm trying, and I'm looking for something. Because why am I looking for it? Because it's not there.
You're looking for an experience.
Yeah.
That arose out of the nothingness of awareness.
Yeah.
And then you made a me out of it and want it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, you know, I meet many people who had the great awakening experience. I was like, okay, 3 months I was pure bliss and awakened, and then I lost it. No, you didn't lose it. It's just your attention, the habitual attention went to the object rather than turning itself back to that which is aware, which is always here.
Yeah.
It's actually the only thing that is always here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know it, but it goes on. But now that I've named it up here in front of all and sundry, maybe it won't happen anymore. I don't know.
Well, it will happen again.
It probably will, and so what?
Until it will happen again until in the happening is okay, did I lose it? Who is aware of it? I mean, that inquiry is quite helpful.
Yeah.
What is aware of this right now? Check it right now. What is aware of the story that we share here?
I am.
You are. It cannot be otherwise. No? And that I am, it is so close. It's much closer than any experience. And yet it's not an it. This is where language doesn't work anymore.
No.
You know, it's space. It is. You know, Steve asked me before satsang about the topic tonight, and the topic he wanted to hear about is there a personal doership, or is everything happening? No? Now, there's a sense that this body-mind can do something about that which is aware of it. And the more you actually are quiet and rest as that which is aware, which is simply putting your attention, wherever we put our attention is where our energy flows. And the habit is the energy flows always into some object. What if the energy, you know, just this is the whole purpose of meditation. You allow the energy to turn and look into what is aware.
Yeah.
What is aware? What is here? And this is only here. It's not past, it's not future, it's not the hope that you're going to have the blissful experience again. It's beyond that. It's pure space. That's why we can call it unconditional love. There's nothing outside the I am.
Yeah. And I can see often I'm fine when I'm by myself, and then after I guess my attention is on another, and then that's my attention goes, and then I will go.
Yeah.
I'll be Tony, you know. I'll be Tony.
You'll be Tony for the other person. Yeah. Yeah. Hold a second, because we're gonna take you here. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Rahasya.
So, Tony, what is here?
I am. Yeah. I am here. Yeah.
Now, it's half a concept and half a realization. Now, let it be a complete realization. I am. What else? No?
I am that I am.
Amazing, no? And in the Bible, Jesus had this thing already, and none of the Christians have understood that. Yeah, the burning bush. I don't know if you know the story.
Someone, I don't know. I don't know the burning bush. I'm not really up with
I
the
mean,
Bible.
I shouldn't brag, because I don't know the real biblical story either. I just know it through Osho talking about the burning bush. Anybody is kind of well versed in the Bible?
Did the bush talk to him or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bush talked to him, and then he asked, who are you? And said, I am that I am.
Okay, right.
But I think it was Moses, it wasn't even Jesus. No?
All right,
No?
right.
Ich bin der ich bin. No? It's for our mind is completely meaningless, but for the truth of who we are, it is this. Thank you.
Oh, right.
Come. How is that?
Well, actually, maybe I might just bring up the two things that sort of came to me while I was listening to you
of
before.
course.
If that's
Yeah.
okay, and we could just discuss.
Of course.
Before, when you were talking about the state of being aware of being aware, what I felt was that, you know, my closest connection was when I feel like a complete state of bliss and gratitude, just from a very centered place within. And it's like I look around me and everything is just sprinkled with gratitude. Stardust.
Fairy dust.
Fairy
Yeah.
dust. Stardust.
Yeah.
Fairy dust.
Yeah.
Is that I mean, I suppose this isn't coming from a place where I feel overly attached for those moments where I'm surrounded by stardust, but I certainly am grateful, so I'm identifying with it. But
Yeah, body mind loves it. No?
yeah.
It loves to make a happy self out of it, and that's the beginning of the end, because then we
Yeah.
want to keep it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you understand that? It's like, and then basically, the body mind makes a concept out of it. This is how it needs to look, and yet it appeared as grace.
Yeah, it's grace.
Mm. And when it appears as grace, there is no personal doership. I cannot do, the little I cannot do it. And then with self-inquiry, this is what we played with Tony a little bit, is the self-inquiry, but there's many different pathways, if you like, you know. You can also penetrate the experience of the body-mind deeper and deeper, and explore what is deeper than that, and what is deeper than that, and what is deeper than that. This is usually very, very helpful when you're in a deep suffering, you know? And then you find deeper than this, eventually you arrive at nothing. Try this. Any trip you are on, if you really explore honestly what is deeper than that, you will come to no thing. And for the body-mind, no thing is life-threatening. It doesn't want it. And for the being, is the first recognition, because it's not a thing.
Well, it makes the story insignificant.
Exactly. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you need to discard the story. It's like we love story. I go to the cinema, you pay for the story, for somebody else's story. Yeah? But in the cinema, it's so entertaining, because you very clearly know that you're not in the movie. So you don't need to adjust the movie to your likings. You say, oh, you know. The hero, you're with the hero and say, oh, no, don't go there, he's going to kill you. No? You just kind of watch the whole thing. And it's the same.
But the hero is the hero, because you're only seeing the hero because you're seeing it in that moment.
Yeah. But you're the hero.
Yeah.
Always.
And you're...
No? Everything that appears in awareness is actually acting out the wonderful play of life. And the magic thing is, when your attention is on that which is aware, the sting of identification loosens. It's a certain sense of freedom. No? Ah, wow.
What can I just add?
Please.
Was the second part actually was when you were speaking and sharing. I connected with something that resonated with me, because I've had that similar experience where all of a sudden I'm like, "Who's that?" But what I observe in myself in those moments is it's empathy or sympathy that I'm coming from, not compassion, because compassion is me serving myself in order to serve others. And when I drop out of, and I don't know whether this is a question, but
Give it a try.
I'll give it a go. When I drop out of my compassionate self and that more place of, well, how I connect with bliss and my experience with bliss is that it's like the needs of my story is being met. So I go into a state of validation, and that's what I observe. That's normally like the first thing that I see that I'm observing in that play that's playing out, because it feels like a play to me. It's like I go on show, not when I feel like my power and my chi comes from that centeredness of just where I am, who I am, and I am now.
Yeah, but the best way to recognize it is when you don't think about it.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
When you're just in the flow of life, when life just moves through you.
Yeah.
No? And you will notice, the more attention you give to it, you will notice when you move out of the flow of life into enhancing your sense of self, which is not real.
Yeah.
Then it becomes weird. Then you feel like you get tense, you get stressed, you get all these things that the body-mind does to create a separate story.
I've personally found that when I go into that place and I start to focus on the things rather than the me.
The me, the I am. Yeah.
Yes, the I am. It's floated off.
Good. It happens to me all the time.
All the time.
It drops into the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely.
Thank you.
It's so nice when you suddenly, you have a flow of thought, and the little me is all excited about having gotten something, and then suddenly it just drops into not knowing, because that's more true than anything. And not knowing is actually presence. You can never know the present moment. You can only be present. So the I am is actually also another word for it is presence. And there's this background joy behind it. Do you have that? It's like, and it has no reason except for itself. I like your T-shirt. Howl, moan.
It's a record store.
It's a record store. No, I just saw the howling and the moaning. Often when I sit here, in this beautiful Sangha, in this presence, Osho comes so strong for me. And I'm just, remembering a quote that I often play. At the time Osho was giving sannyas, which means an initiation, and people had all sorts of ideas and questions about what sannyas is. And the way he described it in one of the many descriptions is, sannyas is really moving into your interiority, entering into yourself deeper than what you know yourself to be. And there comes a point where you recognize, how does he say it? There comes a point where you recognize yourself not as the body-mind, but as consciousness. And when you recognize yourself as consciousness, then all the energy that was going into preserving a sense of self, and that was going into your suffering, that was going into becoming something better, becomes available to love. All the energy that went into anger and conflict becomes available to your vitality. All the energy that you wasted in becoming becomes available into to compassion. And then when you recognize that there's no you, then there's only compassion and love and peace, but no you. I read that or heard that so many times, but each time it has a deeper meaning. No? It has a He also talks about that when you recognize yourself as eternity. For the body-mind, it doesn't make sense at all. No? And yet, when we investigate or inquire into awareness, what is awareness or consciousness? It's one of the many words that point towards the formless, points towards space. But it's more than space. And then when you inquire, well, does this space have any limits? You find no. It's like space is space. It has no limits. It has no boundaries. Otherwise, it wouldn't be space. Then does it have a beginning? It has no beginning. Otherwise, there would be a limit somewhere. Does it have an end? It has no end. But what Osho put on his samadhi, I couldn't understand it at the time. Never born, never died. He was coming from that place, only visiting this planet then and then. So who is visiting? The formless takes form for a visit. The formless we can call God. The form is here, sitting here. That means you, I, we are the divine in form. It doesn't have any other form to experiencing itself through a body-mind than your and my body-mind. This is how important we are. No beginning, no end. Never born, never died. This a timeless love affair. This is one of the songs from Miten. And the good news in this is that we can relax. Everything is already the way it is, including COVID-19. It's just a name. The I am has nothing to do with it, and has everything to do with it because the I am simply allows things to be as they are. Is that difficult? Things are the way they are already. It is only our interpretation that creates conflict. And each person's interpretation would be different. So we could have a huge discussion about COVID-19 and everybody would have another opinion. Is it necessary? No. Who is aware of it? Blessings. And suddenly we are in a field of health. Can you feel that? Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be improved. Everything that we ever can experience is held in the grace of this moment. And of course there comes gratitude. Oh my God. But even saying my God is wrong. Because it implies a my and a God. I am God. That freaked me out when I came to India and heard Osho talk. Everybody said Bhagwan, which means God. And I thought, what does he think he is? Why is he God and me not? India is very easy with godliness. No? It has, I think, 30 million gods. That was at the time when there were 30 million people in India. Now it's a few. Now it's more than 1 billion. Any Shall we chant a mantra together to complete this? Last Tuesday, Steph was singing with me the Art Gorenami mantra. Actually, I was singing with her and I didn't quite know her melody. But I would love to chant that again, but this time with Deva and Miten on their live version. And I think it's a beautiful mantra because the words are Ad Gorenami. Try that. Jugat Gorenami. Sat Gorenami. Siddhi Gurudev Nami. And a rough meaning is this deep honoring of the Guru. First, it's the same thing, like in our awakening journey, if there is any journey. It's like first we project it outside to the Guru, and we are incredibly in gratitude for the guru that takes us from darkness to light. But when we stay in the projection, that doesn't help, because we will always be kind of putting our presence and our awakening into the hands of a so-called other. Then eventually the projection comes back, and then the Satguru awakens, that which knows the truth within already. And I would suggest every single one of us and every single person around the world, behind the person, knows the truth. This is why it's called waking up and not becoming something. It just needs to have the right atmosphere and the right teaching or wisdom in the air to wake up to it. And then we bow down to that. Shall we try? If I find it. To God, Sri Guru to God, Sat, Sri Guru Yes. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Now, there's many more journeys to be taken, and next Monday evening, beautiful Pavita will have her debut here in this place, in this room, to share from her. You have to come. She has a beautiful way to share the truths, different probably than me, and very unique, because Pavita is Pavita. And there are some flyers that she made today that you can take with you. And
actually, I didn't make them, I just got them printed. That's not a skill I have. I discovered.
So if you like this space, it's kind of, I think it's very good to immerse yourself deeper and deeper into that which is aware of all things, because the outside world is getting so nuts, so it's good to come home within, or remember the home within. And we have, of course, next Friday again, Satsang here.
There's a question from Emily from Kuala Lumpur. Is it going to be on Facebook Live?
Yes.
Pavita, you're going to be on Facebook Live, yeah?
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah.
You help me.
So thank you, all the friends around the world. Thank you for joining us, and may you be happy and at peace and well and in joy and in love and in gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.